And now, coming to you from the Pensado Media Center, powered by Westlake Pro.
60 number one singles and albums. Dave's protege is on fire. The Pensado Awards are December 3rd. Brand new mix contest, hot ITL. You're at the place. It's Pensado's place.
Actually, I was Jay's protege, but people don't know that.
Well, I know that.
I assisted Jay.
What Jay was going to tell us.
I learned more from him than he did from me, for sure. Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. We're going to... what are we going to do?
Well, it's a special show. There's lineage in this show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Shall we get to it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, family, great to be with you. We want to thank you for something. We went to Nashville, as we told you, and at the end of our thing, we got this award from YouTube. This is a YouTube milestone. It's highly coveted. It's presented to folks who get to a certain level of subscribers. And this award is really all because of you. I know each week we ask for your likes and subscribes. That's partially how the show comes to you for free. So Dave and I want to thank you very much for that. Sure. Actually, what's written on here in terms of subscribers, we have twice as much, but that's okay. So from Dave and I, and we just thank you so much. That was a big surprise. It was a big surprise. It was very cool. We had a great time down there. Speaking of support, how about our amazing partners? 1500 or Nothing, the Blackbird Academy, Westlake Pro, Avid, DTS, Lander, and Fab Factory. Now, all you guys and gals out there, break out your mixing skills because you know what's coming up. It's the Indaba and Pensado Mix Contest. We got another one. We're back, as they say. You see it behind us. The track is Havoc by Adrian Daniels. The prizes are amazing prizes. Grand prize winner, Skype appearance on the show, Tascam Track Factory, Isotope Music Production Bundle, really cool plug-in Beat Skills Urban Production Bundle, Lander subscription, pro status on Indaba Music. Second place and third place, different variations of those prizes. You know what to do, enter and win. You know that Dave is going to go and study those last 10 and pick. The contest duration is now until September 26th. We will announce the winner on October 24th. So get your mix on, like Missy Elliott would say. Get your mix on. Get your mix on. Icky, icky. You want to do the icky, icky? No, you have to do that. Cool. And then she'd go, holla. So,
you're scaring me, man.
I know, it's sorry. I'm having a good time.
All right.
So go to, did you say I? I thought you did. Go to indabamusic.com. See it below me. You see that link? Get an enter right now and become a winner. Now, David, let's go to your countering skills. Thank you for that sip. What happens on December 3rd, sir?
Oh, man, the new award show.
Yay.
Number four.
It's number four. God,
Can you believe it?
Right?
Yeah.
My goodness.
This is going to be special.
It is. We are in a new place. We're going to have new fun. We're going to do new things. The award show brought to you by the hit-making, educating, performing juggernaut known as 1500 or Nothing. We're going to do a special show on them in a minute. You can see behind us some of the people that contributed, McCartney and Pitbull and Keith Urban and all kinds of folks. And we're going to wind it up this year the same way. Next week when we come back, we'll announce the co-host. We'll tell you who the giant award winner is going to be. We're going to show you the award categories, and you can begin to sign up ASAP. What do? Go to PensadoAwards.com for all the info and the updates, and then we're going to have a good time around the holidays. Very quickly, as we introduce the ITL, you ready for the ITL? Mm-hmm. What we want to make sure we do, I've been talking to some friends of ours in Groove 3. They're based in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you send a prayer if you can help. Folks down in Texas and Louisiana are catching hell, pure hell. This is Katrina level, but in a much bigger urban space. We have a lot of audio brothers and sisters down there. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. Make sure if you can do something, do something. If you can't do anything, say a prayer, whatever. Since they're catching hell, we want them to know that we're supportive and we're going to do everything we can. So, much love to the folks down there. It's a great Texas spirit we're seeing and folks helping each other. I'll tell you one thing I saw was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I've been watching the athletes' response. J.J. Watt, the Texans, people from the Mavericks and so on and so forth. Gerald Green, who plays for Houston, literally was in, like, he had a big SUV, and he's FaceTiming himself driving, going, I need everybody with a boat to get a boat here, and everybody who's driving, get off. It's dangerous. I'm running around picking up people because I can do it. Like, there was just this personal commitment to helping. So that good old American spirit is definitely on display, but they need help. So send a prayer, do whatever you can. All right, man. ITL, sir, what you got?
I'm titling this one, Joe Barisi was right. Virtual amps are good.
Cool, let's roll it.
I've for about the last years, I've been looking for virtual software guitar amps to replace some of my all-time favorites, and I'm pretty generous. I don't really want an exact replica. I don't mind if it sounds better. That would be wonderful. But they've all had certain flaws that seemed insurmountable and not musical, and so I continued the search, and my friend Joe Barisi hit me to this particular plug-in, and I really like it. Joe was right. It's pretty good. It's called a Scuffham, Scuffham. You can see it right here. And then Wayfarer. I'll give you a quick little tour of this thing. Is it perfect? No. But man, when you put it on something, like if you got a sound you already like, you might use this to kind of supplement some of the frequencies that you don't get. Check it out without it. Pretty good. Okay, I'm going to take you through a couple of more presets just to make you jealous. Let's check this one out. I should have gotten a little bit of a gain stage control here, but bear with me. And then also, these effects are really, really nice. So, the Scuffham S-Gear, great effects, great presets, and Joe was right.
He's friend, he's family, and he is absolutely scorching hot. He's also damn near Dave's son. It's the one, yeah, he is, and it's a wonderful thing. And what I love about him is that you always point that out. He's the one, the only, the on fire Jaycen Joshua. What's up, brother?
What's up, Herb?
You know what?
You're my uncle.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Uncle Herb.
Well, what's crazy is I think probably in the first 10, 15 episodes when we started the show, Jaycen was not only the guy, but also the progenitor of Batter's Box.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely, man.
And the first to give actual, real information and vital secrets.
All the rest of it was just...
That's true. Let's get one thing real clear, though. When Jaycen first started working with me, not for me, with me, he already had some of the best ears I'd ever seen in the business. So it's just a question of learning how to manipulate and the things he heard. But I would always let him tell me what to do with the bass. He can hear the difference between 30 cycles and 31 cycles. That's how good he is.
Right, exactly. What would you say? Is there a Jaycen Joshua signature in your mixes?
Oh, absolutely.
What would it be?
The low end.
Yeah, gotcha.
Speaking of the low end, let's start right off with a secret. Why the F are you always panning your 808s?
Well, the key is people don't realize there's multiple low-end information going on at the same time. And a lot of people tend to put everything up the middle, like, oh, they go by the rules. Bass up the middle, kick up the middle, vocal up the middle, and then everything's up the middle. If you just slightly, give things a little bit more room, more, time to themselves, it just opens the mix up completely. And sometimes it's not pans. Sometimes through EQ or through harmonic distortion, the plug-in or the board or the outboard gear, if you just manipulate one side just a slight bit different from the other side, it gives it a little bit more character. So that might tend to have it lean a little bit left or right.
Which then would give your mix more depth to the ear, right?
Yeah, I mean, you only have left and right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to figure out the best way to present that information to the listener. And for me, if you have a bass line, an 808, and a kick, which a lot of people are doing now, all coming at the same time, it's hard to have that information stay in the same place.
But that gives you a slot for the vocal too, right?
Absolutely.
Because your vocals, I never have to hunt. They're just right there all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so cool. And on the top end, on the other end of the spectrum, I'm hearing something that's not EQ. What am I hearing?
Well, like I said, I'm probably the king of harmonics. Like, that's all I think about. It's a crucial part of making your record louder. Every frequency has different harmonics that it likes, different plugins or different pieces of gear that kind of go to it. And what I've learned is instead of EQing, which we all know adds phase, sometimes harmonics are a little bit better, and then you can isolate that frequency with filters.
Is that, like, you and I were talking one day and you said that you were using saturation and distortion more for an EQ than for an effect?
Absolutely.
Is that an extension of that philosophy?
Absolutely. With it being paralleled, so you can really control how much. Sometimes you want the transients to come through. Sometimes you just want to hear that, frequency without cutting your ears off.
Is there a song? Everybody, sometimes people ask me this, and I don't know how to answer. Is there a song that you think really represents the best of your skill set and a combination of everything coming together that you're proud of? That one song, is there one that just kind of represents that for you?
It's probably two.
Okay.
The two would be Beyonce's Formation, because you have somebody, production-wise, who's as aggressive as you can get with Mike Will, which I'm kind of proud of, because in the very beginning working with him, he was one of the first to open my eyes up to the power of the 808. And slowly but surely, I think, and this is going to be a bold statement, that we turn the 808 into the new rock guitar. Because, hip hop's the new rock and roll now.
Absolutely.
So he was very instrumental. I mean, we would work on the 808 more than anything else. I mean, he was so keen on it. And over time, you have an epiphany and you're like, dude, we're changing the game because no one was really adding as much distortion to the 808 as we were. Like, we made it growl. It was literally like a rock guitar. So, over time, it was a process of, doing parallels of having the low end, having the mid-range, having the top end, and finding that sweet spot and the balance in between, but really concentrating, because he would always say, I need more growl, and then finding, the certain guitar pedals or certain plugins that gave you that growl.
What's the other record?
The Despacito. And it's kind of like a cliche, but I mean, the fact that these guys who it was a very folky pop record, but the fact that they came to me and was like, we need to make this cool. We want to change Latin music and put heaviness back into it. We want the low end to return. We want people to dance. We want people to feel it. You know what I mean? So that was a huge breakthrough. And for them to take that chance.
And you delivered every bit. No, go ahead.
When you first met Andres and Mauricio, they weren't very well known, were they?
No, I remember the call like it was yesterday. I get a call from Terry, and Terry's like, these guys, they're from Colombia.
Shout out to Terry.
I think they were still living in Colombia at the time. They want to talk to you. They're big fans, So I take the call, and they said, we would love to work with you, but we have no money. But we have great songs.
We've heard that line a lot. Huh?
So, you say, send the songs, send what you got. And they sent the records, and I cannot tell you, they're geniuses. They were ahead of their time because they infused today's music in with, you know, the music that they were used to. You know, one of the members are in a group called Kali Dendi, and they had that. It was their record that we did first that did really, really good. I don't know the title. Maybe you guys can throw it because I don't speak the best Spanish in the world, which I'm practicing. But after that, we just went on a run, and obviously one of the records was Despacito. And I would love, like, it would be great for like the Pepsi challenge so you can hear the before and after, because they took the risk and they loved it. Like, it's nothing better when you have, I tell people all the time, when you're people come to you for your taste.
Right.
But your taste has to gel with the person, with your client.
Absolutely.
If you guys hear music different, it's never gonna work.
Right.
So have the conversation first. Be familiar with each other. A lot of people don't even come to the studio, they just sent the records. And sometimes, you know, it works out, but it's always best to speak with your client.
If you ever want to take something from the show, and you're going to learn a lot from the show, that is a huge point. I think the way we figured it out in our relationship.
I learned that the hard way.
Well, we put together a creative call before we do any mix. And we just get everybody on the same page, speaking the same language, same deadlines, file chart, whatever the case may be, so creatively can go down the path.
And this will be like for the listeners, everybody takes L's. I mean, you can be the greatest mixer in the world, greatest whoever, greatest producer. You're gonna be told, I don't like it.
Yep.
I am of the philosophy, if you don't like it, that means we're not like hearing it the same, and I don't want to give you the rough. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys follow my Instagram, but my motto is, excuse my French, fuck your rough.
I laughed when I saw that. I laughed so hard.
Yeah, and if you want your rough, and if you call, then cool, you know,
There's somebody
go
else.
your own, there's somebody else for you, and I sorry to waste your time. Here's your money back. That's because I understand a lot of these people, they don't have the big budgets, and you know, they take this L. And, you know, we went through this journey together. It didn't work out, you know, congratulations.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I never hear that record again. You know what I mean? Because I don't mix records like I mix records on like, how am I going to make this a #1 record? How am I going to get this on the radio?
Right.
So.
Well, sorry. Oh, no, I was going to say, look, there's a lineage between you guys. You guys work together. When you look at Jaycen's site and so on and so forth, or just talk to him, he always talks about, you know, the connection between you guys and what he learned there, and you do the same thing too.
Though. I didn't do that.
Well, either way, there's no, but it just really works. And one of the things that
my entire career is because of this man. Like entire. I love him. And dearly.
Don't start being modest now, because you never are before.
I've got a big ego. But
no, but it's true.
I know the truth. Jaycen was amazing when I met him.
But what's fascinating to me, just in knowing you both, is that both of you, and sometimes this isn't hip today, both of you are committed to making records that work on the radio. Like it's about, and that's part of the lineage together, but also just.
And that's what I learned from Dave. Like Dave, exactly. Like he would take us on a journey and work on a reverb for 49 hours, and I'm like, there's no way the clients are gonna like this. There's no way. And they didn't, but they would accept it because it was Dave, and then once it got on, you'd be like,
it was like
he rechanged, like, just,
which is what you're doing now. Yeah,
okay, so Despacito, facts, not bragging. Give me some numbers. How long at #1?
I don't know exactly, 15, 16 weeks, but I know we just tied the record, and I don't even know who holds the record.
But you got to 1 billion pretty quick, too, streams.
Well, that's one thing with the guys, Andres and Maurice, they're the king of, they'll let you know where we're at. You know what I mean? So they'll hit me up and I'll be like, oh, you know, and what's great about when we get to the positions that we're at, when people come to you not as an engineer, but for your taste,
absolutely,
that's wonderful.
You're become an extension of the producer.
No question about it.
So that's the goal that these young mixers need to work for, because you get a point. And when you get a royalty on a record like Despacito, on Watch Me Whip by Silento, or whatever, game changer.
Game changer.
This might be a good time. I'm manipulating the conversation. I apologize. But I don't want to embarrass you, but you did Unforgettable, French Montana, and you donating all the proceeds, including your point, to some kids, some children in Uganda. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, man, them kids gonna eat. Them kids are gonna eat. But the greatest thing about that record is people have no idea what the process or what the record went through to get to that. You know, the fights on keeping that much reverb on the vocals.
Yeah.
Puff calling in and legit having me work on that snare. Like the mix was done and we probably worked on got to V17 just working on the snare. So the most important parts of that record are the snare and that reverb. But French posted, I didn't know what French was doing, like with his video or his concept or anything. And all of a sudden, his manager, Sal, sent me a video of what he was doing in the concept and the kids in Uganda. And when I saw it, like, you know, I'm an emotional cat. I shed a tear. So I immediately called my manager and was like, everything that I get from that record goes to, you know, and he donated. I mean, it's not going to be close to what he donated, but pretty much everybody a part of that project felt something and felt what French did with that video. So it was like, sometimes there's time to make money and sometimes there's time to let go. And get that good karma.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there? I know I'm springing this on you, but is there a website where if someone wanted to donate, they could find a way to donate?
Yeah, I think you can go to French's social, and he has something on his IG where you can, you know, go and donate. But I know he's very, like, he just built a school out there or helped build a school. So he's very passionate. So yeah, you can go to one of his posts and you can see.
Okay. Do you take the position that you've earned now, phones ringing, you can pick what you want to do and so on and so forth, and then, like you did with the philanthropic thing, look for other opportunities to pay it forward, bring people along? Is that part of it?
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, and probably on my previous appearances, like I had Pensado's place every day. Every assistant that's ever worked with Dave has Pensado's place every day because everybody knows Dave loves to talk.
Right.
So, long story short,
turn it into a show.
You know, I
got my staff out there laughing. Hold on, let me take notes here. Okay.
I give my, you know, I always pay it forward every assistant. Pretty much every assistant that I have, I've placed them with a client and they become that client's engineer and they multitask and do what, so I'm big on giving my assistants the keys and the secrets the same way Dave did. And it's funny because, you know, they'll go out, like I'll give you an example. My last assistant is now Tyga's engineer. So, or among other people's engineers as well, but Tyga's one of his clients. And he sent me a session that we did together. Like Tyga wanted us to do together. Like, and I got it from him and it sounded, when I say amazing. Are we
talking about Maddox?
Maddox,
okay.
Maddox Chim, shout out. And then I look at his setup, I'm like, damn, it looks eerily familiar. but that's the same setup I got from Dave.
Right.
So it's just the, you know,
pay it forward.
Yeah, you pay it forward.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful.
Oh, excuse me a minute.
Oh, what's that? Is that your Tommy?
Are you looking at your logo?
Straighten out my logo.
Or are you playing with your nipple?
Need a Hubble telescope to see my logo. I'm not going to forget that ever.
Education. Is that important in the space?
It's extremely important. I mean, I talk to you and Dave about this all the time. Like, you know, these schools are great schools, you know, Blackbird Academy, Full Sail, you know, USC is really trying to concentrate on music. But what I'm seeing is the art is not being taught. Like there's no position as an engineer that is technical. Unless you're back in the day, like those engineers who actually built the consoles and recorded and did it all. Right now, the engineer is a creative extension of the artist. You know what I mean? But they're not being taught the art. They're being taught how to quickly capture a vocal and how to do smart keys and blah, blah. But they're not being taught how important it is to get an amazing vocal, and that's an art. You know what I mean? And the guys who are really good at it, that are artists on just capturing a vocal, they become that guy. They become everybody's, you know, so there's so many positions, tuning vocals, vocal recorder, vocal producer, so on and so forth. And as soon as you realize as a student that you are a artist, you become a better engineer.
Well, when we were in Nashville.
Well said.
When we were in Nashville and we were interviewing a guy named Luke Laird, kind of my, 13 number one singles, a great producer, all this kind of stuff. We had a conversation in front of a big crowd about you can't lose the creative side of who you are. You're not just a machine, what comes in and goes out. There has to be your taste and your feeling and your passion and your emotion, and you have to know how to tap into that and then contribute that to the record.
That's why
that's what the school can't teach.
And not only they can't teach, but you got to understand, it has to be in your bones. It's hard to be a creative guy and not be in the creative environment that your clients are in. 100%. Like, if you ain't going to the club, how are you going to know what's banging?
100%.
You know what I mean? If you're not listening to the radio, if you're not doing whatever, and as an engineer, sometimes your sound is controlling what radio is.
No doubt about it.
However, with technology, these kids are defying the rules. And if you don't follow or listen to what's going on, these kids will take you out.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes, and then their wrongs become right.
Become the way it
You know,
goes.
I've heard a million engineers say, man, I don't understand that. Well, if you don't get on that wave, you're going to go the way of the dodo.
Just sold 2 million records.
You're tripping.
Absolutely.
On Despacito, I want to talk about that again. I can't get it out of my brain. I'm sitting here listening and thinking about that song. It feels to me like from 300 up, it's a pop song, and from 300 down, it's a hip hop song. Is that accurate?
Completely. I mean, they're every time I work with them, they're like, get as aggressive as you can with the drums, because you gotta understand that music for that culture is their hip hop.
Right.
You know what I mean? They like to jam, whether it's bachata or whatever. They like that feel, that vibe, and it was so refreshing when you work with people and you have the, you know, they what they say, they want the slamming drums, but they want everything else to sound expensive. And that's what not to toot your horn again, but that's what I learned from Dave. Like, girls love the bass. Girls buy all the records. Guys buy records because their girl likes it. So the big records. And if you give them the right low end, and it can't be all over the place, but if you give them the right amount of low end, it makes the artist or the record cooler. You know what I mean? More hip, you know, more closer to the culture right now. And if you make the vocals, the guitars, and everything else expensive, it's the best of both worlds. And I think that's my niche. You know what I mean?
On that vocal, it's kind of dry, but you snuck in one of those echoes. Like, by the way, I don't think anybody can touch your use of delays right now. Your delays are like...
Well, let me give a shout out to even though it's my template and Dave's template, and we've been doing it forever, but like, I'm a big, huge fan of not having space and being artsy and giving creative, you know, stuff for the listeners to listen to. But my team, like, we have a template. I don't know how many different types of delays and reverbs and stuff like that. But once I'm done with the mix, I send it over to my guys, and they give me hundreds of, I don't know, all kinds of information of dope stuff. And then I put it in. So shout out right now to David Nakaji, who's on my effects team. He's ridiculous, and they take pride into it. But you know when they love the record, because you'd be like, man, these delays are crazy. And then you know when hey, you didn't like this record, do it again. You know what I mean? What are you doing? Put some effort into it.
Wow, that's pretty cool. One of the things of many that I admired about you was when you get a traditional sounding drums, you know, kick and snare, it's easy to figure out what to do with it. But when you get these unorthodox floppy kicks, you know what to do with them. Sometimes I don't really do those as well as maybe I should, but are you still doing that? I mean, the floppy kick and that one, you brought that alive.
Yeah, so one or two things happen. One, you replace the drums. When you've been doing it as long as we have, you know, I'm I guess coming on my 10th or 12th year, I don't know, but you hear a drum and you can say to yourself, oh, I know what they were trying to go for. And you have, like, I'm like, you know how I was. I'm like Rain Man when it comes to, so I can go immediately to like, oh, here's the kick. And they don't know because it's the same kick, but how it's, because if you sometimes try to EQ a kick to make it what it wants to be, too much, like, it just doesn't turn out the best all the time. But I'm the king, like I said, I love to molt. So if I want to, like, more low end and want to control the low end, I'll molt it and do, you know, filters and have the low end. If I want the top to be controlled, I'll have the top. You know, transient designer, you got to just manipulate it. Sometimes it's long. Sometimes I'll have an elongated kick that you have to cut and make short, so you have to do it by hand. You know, so it's, you know, you got to manipulate it.
So just an inside joke, are you still going to the Blitzberg folder?
The Illustrious Blitzberg folder is the #1, but that's where all, like, if I get a client and they, oh my God, that kick or that snare or the hi-hat, it's amazing, it goes immediately to the Blitzberg folder. So absolutely.
Do you want to explain the Blitzberg folder?
I don't know. One day I come in and all my drums are in this Blitzberg folder. And I'm like, Jay, maybe you should have asked me for that. And he's like, no, this is like a long-term thing. This is it's an honor for you to have this.
It's the Hall of Fame of drum sound.
So if you go to my disc, I got the Blitzberg folder too. I use it too.
That is fantastic.
I think we're like on volume 4 now or something like that.
How did Black Beatles come about? I was so proud of that.
It was the 11th and a half hour. Mike Will, the album was done. We finished it, completed. Mike Will gets inspired, does a record last minute, sends it over. You know, once again, my team, shout out to Maddox Jim, who helped out a lot on that record. And that's another thing that people have to understand. Like, don't be afraid, and that's what I learned with Dave, don't be afraid to build, not only with your assistants, but with anybody.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Anybody can make a record better. And a lot of these producers are learning that. That's why you see a lot of collabs with producers. But like, I really want to pick the assistants that can add to it, and Maddox definitely did. And I mean, it was self-explanatory. Like, one thing about Mike Will, it's very simple, so it's easy. As long as you get the beat to bang, which we'll go over if you want concept-wise, and the 808 right, the rest is history.
Go over the beat, concept-wise.
I mean, with him, and this is like sound effects again, you know, I like that. Major key. A lot of people tend to use plugins or tend to use outboard gear to compress the drums, like to, oh my God, my kick is hitting the same time as the 808, what I do, my shit's exploding, blah. So they'll sit there and they'll try to find the right attack time and do everything that they can. Me, I like the trim tool. I like when the kick hits, I can trim down the front part of the 808 and you don't hear it disappear because the kick's taking that window. And it gives me about 2 dB of headroom. So I'm always gonna be 2 dB louder than you before I even hit the compressor.
Wow.
Man, that's a headline. Maybe we should repeat that.
Yeah, so every time the 808 hits, at the same time as the kick, you just, obviously the kick's gonna take precedence, and that's how you, like, how do you get the kick and the 808 to hit hard at the same time? You just take that first front end, don't need a compressor because it's the envelope that you can create. That you can manipulate, and then, you know, you copy paste.
Wow.
One thing sometimes that I get confused about is, and you do this very well, you've got like a lot of the songs that you're doing and I'm doing, the actual singer will start the song off and then, you know, first verse, second verse, and then a rapper comes in and they sound like they're on two different planets. Do you make an effort to make them sound like they were in the room at the same time, or you just take what you got and make it better? Do you try to like on Havana, like on some of the songs you've done?
It depends. A lot, and that goes back to collabing again, a lot of the big time rappers have their own engineer. So shouts out to them. And it's good to make nice with them because they're the guys that are in with the artist every day.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want is to send over a mix with a hater.
100%.
Not like, this is terrible, I could do 100 better jobs. So I'm loving all, and they're amazing. They're really, because they get the vocal sound, they're with them every day, and the artist is used to that. So yeah, once you get that, you have to make it balanced and matched. So they kind of set the precedence of where that record might be going to. One of my favorite guys who rivals us on delays and effects. Shout out to Big Juice.
Oh yeah,
Big Juice. He's Nicki Minaj's engineer.
He's a bad boy.
And he is incredible. He's the wave of the future.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, that's cool. You say that. And it couldn't be a nicer person.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Are you okay talking about Reminder?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Describe to me if you remember. Now I'm thinking maybe you might not. The vocal chain that you use to get some of the effects and to get that vocal to stand out. It's a really well done vocal.
Which on the weekend?
On the remix.
Okay, so Abel is really particular, and we'll send a mix over to him, and there's probably no mix that goes shorter than V10 because he is, and he admits it. He is a perfectionist. But what makes it amazing is that, and you know how it is, when you get somebody that gives you ideas and it makes the record better,
oh gosh,
it's a blessing. It's a blessing. Right. So, but with him, he's a big fan of, and a lot of people are a big fan of this now, it's the new wave, wavy vocals. And that's a lot of delays, a lot of reverb. But you want the vocal, because we love, the vocals are the most important part of the record, right up front. You know, you don't want it to be washed out and misunderstood. So a lot of pre-delay is the key. I don't want that reverb or that delay to hit you until the vocal hits you. So that's a key. And then, you know, using certain types of short delay slaps to just make the vocal get a little bit wider, a little bit bigger. But the key is pre-delays before the reverb hits you.
Yeah, everything old is new again.
And parallel compression. Like, if you don't parallel your vocal, if you don't have that second vocal that's underneath, that's right there in your face, which I learned from Dave. I'll never forget the first time I went in. I was like, why does he have 2 faders for the lead vocal? I don't understand what that's for. And he's riding it up and down. Sometimes you want the vocal in your face. Sometimes you want it to sit back. And that's the key. If you're not paralleling your lead, you're going to catch an L with all the top guys.
Thanks. That reminder vocal, that thing was kind of unique. It was so different.
What was unique about it?
It didn't have a traditional bottom end to it. It didn't have a traditional top end or mid range. So I guess everything. That's about all there is those 3 points. But it fit the song as good or better than any song I've heard in the last year. It just sat right in the mix. And sometimes you'll put the vocal in and the energy in the track goes down, and you hate that. Sometimes you put the vocal in and the whole energy goes up.
Well, that vocal was in the box. I remember exactly what I did, so I'll give out some keys. It probably went the first plug-in. Even though it got sent out to the board, the vocal chain was in the box. Fab filter to roll off the low end, so anything below 50, all the plosives. Then it goes into an R box, which I don't care what anyone says. One of the best compressors ever made, and it turns your vocal, as long as it's not over compressed already when you get it, it turns your vocal from this to attention. It puts it at attention. So the second one is, and I'm huge at shelving. So usually, because of the proximity effect, you get 250, 300, 400 hertz as your lead part of your frequency in a vocal. I like to, do a nice little shift. So if you look at my EQ, it looks like a wave going down to take all that out. And that is when I learned that type of scoop, probably like 8 years ago, it changed my life. Because I used to do just, bells. But when I did that, almost like the tilt, it changed my life. So that, and then the final, shout out to McDSP. Can I get a sponsorship, Dave? Like, dude.
You gave me the wrong email.
Dude.
They reached out to you. They reached out to you.
Anyway, the McDSP.
Give me the right email next time. Don't give me the girlfriend email.
It's the 4-band compressor, but
the AE400.
No, it's the 404. It's the one with the wrap. Anyway,
yeah. We used to use that a long time ago.
Yeah, that thing. Anything you use for multi-band compression on a vocal, because you have to. Even sometimes there's a high vocal, so you'll split into another track. But even anytime a vocal changes, sometimes it might be a little more 3. Controls it. It's my go-to. Please multi-band your compressor. So the green one was next, and then for a little tiny bit of top end, the Air EQ. And then parallel. So then I send it to another parallel track, and I believe it was the Blueface CLA to a limiter that catches any peaks that escape past that.
What do you left there?
I still use it. You can ask my assistant. It's still called Jay's Comp.
Oh, really?
J''S Comp.
That's cool.
And it still works just as good as it did.
I just want to let the audience know that we look like we just ran a marathon because the air went out.
It's hot.
FYI.
It's because
it's about 112 degrees in there.
It is. It's Django Unchained up in here. A lot of people don't know in your background that you spent some time inside record companies. You learned different things in terms of marketing and A&R. I've always thought, and particularly as we talked about it, all you guys who are good have an ear, but there's a difference between an ear for a good mix and an ear for hits. Those are different things. You agree?
So that's the fight that I have all the time with friends, I should say. I wouldn't even want to say clients. Like, one thing you have to learn to stay in this game, and Dave will tell you all the time, you're going to lose clients all the time.
Right.
But you got to identify who are the next.
Right.
Because then they'll get a run, and that runs with you.
That's right.
So that's what I was very good at. Like, I'll do an album,
and
you'll see 2 people on there, 2 producers, and you go, oh, Mike, that kid's got it next. And then you take them, and you build with them, and do free stuff for them, and let me do a rough on your beat you're trying to sell to Nikki, and whatever it takes. And then next thing you know, you have a friend and client for life.
That's right.
So, but when you have somebody as strong-willed and minded as Mike Will, who's one of the strongest, the pressure that he goes through to make his ideas and art, especially when he first came out, and not taking no for an answer and getting his way is remarkable. But, obviously we'll go into a situation together where I'm trying to mix for the radio and he's trying to mix for the culture.
Right.
And sometimes you have to let go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Gears
this is
grind.
another key. I've learned so much from Dave. Like Dave's probably taught me the most. However, there's no better instrument of knowledge as an engineer as a great producer. A great producer will make you better. Teddy Riley made Dave Way and Servant better.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't know how many guys came under Dr. Dre, but I guarantee you they made him better.
Great.
So great. We learned so much from some of the people that we worked with.
100%.
So that is a key. When you find somebody musically, like I would tell as an engineer, I would work for any of these top producers for free. Wash their cars, scrub their whatever, just so I can be around them to hear what they're hearing. Because then you learn, you teach.
Yep, absolutely.
Shouts out to Tricky Stewart.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Trick. And Dream.
Definitely, Dream is in a league of his own. Because Dream, Tricky taught me probably the most, but Dream is to me, maybe because I'm so close to him, is one of the most prolific geniuses that I've ever seen in my life. But he can't teach me how to write, though.
Not that.
No.
Is Mike Will still managed by DJ Mormille?
Yep, our
Okay,
main
shout
man
out to
DJ.
DJ.
Shout out to GJ.
What?
Good. No. Did you run out of gas? No, you look like Conor McGregor.
I've just been manipulating the conversation. I love this guy.
As you see, what is fun about you guys
I look
is
like Conor McGregor. I just listened to that.
people don't understand that it's one thing to get hot, it's another thing to stay hot.
The hardest thing in the world.
It's the hardest thing in the world to sustain.
Because then the haters come.
We talk about with the show, you go through evolutions, 2.0, 3.0. I'm encouraged about what's going on the music side. I went through a period of going, oh my God, it's lost its way. But it really was just evolution and change. Because the talented folks still get through and still break through, and you're putting up records, and along with occasional L's, there's W's, and there's W's in new spaces. Are you optimistic about where it's going and what's happening and the talent that's coming along? What's your view into the future?
Well, yes and no. Unhappy with the loss of the art. That, I think technology has brought so many new ideas and people who probably couldn't, back in the day, you had to play.
You had to know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, with technology, it's helped these guys that have these amazing melodies in their heads to put them down for people to listen and to hear. But the art of capturing it has been lost.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to do the best that I can to bring the art back to it, because we're painters.
Yeah.
We're just like the producers, we're just like the singers, but in our area, in our lane.
Cool.
So that is slightly disappointing. However, seeing the new, people are like, oh my God, music, it's going down, da da da. Streaming saved us. You know what I mean? It's taken away, but now that it's really taking off, it's actually given us, given the music industry a new platform. And believe it or not, social media saved us, because now all these new and amazing people are being able to become great without the record company. Because 9 times out of 10, a record company, they don't know. All the great people are managing. All the great, the Scooter Brauns and the Guy Oseri, the great people are outside. And sometimes when you're inside the record company, they negate the greatness of an artist. So now, I'm very excited, because now these people are actually coming to me. And you're like, how do you have this money? We're like, well, I got 14 million followers, and I just went platinum. And I'm like, I never heard of you, but my daughter has.
It's the new indie business. It's a new indie business with new rules and new stuff like that. Speaking of indie business,
Can I ask one more question?
you can ask several more.
From your perspective in your chair,
Bless
you're pretty well situated to answer this question. If you draw the line on out, where do you see hip hop going? Are we going to get away from trap? Are we going to get away from 150 soon, or is it going to be around for a while?
Nah, I think New York is starting to, with the success of French and I guess Fat Joe as well. I think New York is probably, ready to emerge. One thing about being mixers and having, the ability to get these records beforehand, you kind of know what's coming 6 months out.
Right. Yeah.
So I think New York, like, the winner's going to be New York.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And shout outs to French for leading the way. Like, people so slept on, but he definitely put New York on his back. But rap's the new rock and roll. Like, we all saw the Forbes article. It's the number one most generating genre right now. So it just needs to be appreciated. But people have to understand, rap now is the new R&B. So there's rap. You have your Kendricks and your J. Cole's. But now there's the singing rap. Like Little Uzi Vert is our Luther Vandross, whether you want to accept it or not, because that's the new thing. If you put a guy on behind a microphone, you see him doing runs and all kinds of stuff. People are like, it sounds like my dad.
Singing tribute to Brian.
So I'm extremely excited because it puts me to the forefront.
And do you like to mix outside of hip hop?
Yeah, I do it all.
You do it all the time.
If I do say so myself, I might be the king of Latin music right now.
Absolutely. And you can say that for sure.
And there's not, like, people sleep on Latin music, but like every time a new Latin client comes, I haven't heard of them. Then we go on their Instagram or go on their YouTube, and their YouTube videos 600 million.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And I'm like, how do I not heard of Nacho and Chino?
Right.
Like, these people are huge.
Right, exactly.
So, I have friends who help me out.
I remember when you said to me, there's so much great music in the rest of the world. I'm going to go and try and make an effort to do more in the Latin market. I love that music, and I want to be a part of it.
Well, I had friends who actually pushed me in that direction. The Perez sisters, they would always play music, and I would hear it, and they'd be like, "Yo, like, there's such a bigger market." And then me and Terry targeted it, but fortunately enough, knock on wood, I got the call from my two boys from Colombia saying they got heat, and they got heat,
and they serious heat.
You never know.
You got heat? How's your arm? You got a...
well, Jay's a friend and a buddy.
Yeah,
so that's going to be much sweeter to beat him than anybody else on the planet.
Because he's an athlete. He's going to try to crush you.
We're friends. We're friends, but we're still friendly competitive,
Yeah, no, but I know his disposition. He's going to try to roll through the hole and knock your ass.
So get the graphic ready there.
Can I make a suggestion? Whatever question you ask, because most of the listeners are inside the box, can I, instead of saying an outboard piece of gear, can I say what I would use inside the box, because it would help them more?
You would automatically win, except for the pillow. Get that ready. The famous pillow, which we're about to show, is the reason Jay and I work together. So the first batter's box question is, how do you take a pillow that's a throw pillow that goes on a sofa and get the crease in the top just perfect? Because there you go. There's an example. In fact, Jay did that pillow. And
I tell people all the time, they don't believe me, but I was the best runner in the history of runners. And when Dave came to Larrabee, when he came over from Enterprise, it would be a dream to be Dave's assistant. So I was figuring out any way. If I thought Dave was going into the kitchen, I'd suddenly be in the kitchen washing his mug that he just drank. And his lounge had these dusty pillows. So I was like, man, if I could just bring these, Dave leaning back, I said, if I can bring these pillows back to life, he might notice me. So I took the pillows, put a little chop in the middle like a taco.
That's right.
And one day he looked by and said, yo, who did these pillows, Ariels, we were assisting last time? He's like, this kid Jay, man, he's always in here helping me out. And it's like, all right. And it paid off. And I'm here. Because of that pillow.
Yeah. So we'll do an Into the Lair. Really, I'm serious. You and I will do an Into the Lair on how to fold a pillow, right?
Oh, done deal.
Okay.
All right. 808s.
808s.
Distortion.
Distorted.
Ibanez 808 guitar pedal.
There you go.
Change your life.
Distorted vocals. How do you fix them?
Tell them to recut it.
That's the most efficient way.
Echoes.
Flip the phase so they're outside the speaker.
Ooh. Bass.
Molt it.
Rap. Vocals.
In your face.
Snare. I'm doing this so serious.
Bob Power 160X to the API 550A.
I thought I invented that, but Bob did. Verb.
Put a pre-delay so the vocal stays out front.
Stereo bus.
Isotope Ozone 4. Get the Black Cat rapper if you're on 12.
Ooh.
Damn.
Cut that link.
Damn.
Yeah, no,
Send me 10 G's. I'll give you the preset. It'll change your life.
Herb at
Send me
Pensado
5 and I'll give you the same one.
You're right. Oh, that's hilarious. You
I'll do it for $250.
Bidding war. Terry, we'll meet later and work it out.
No,
that is classic.
I think I did. Yeah, I think I did get that one from you though, because I was in the hospital and when I got out, you gave it to me.
Hilarious.
Okay. If your studio caught fire, if Larrabee caught fire, other than your hard drives, occupants, who would you try to? What piece of gear would you try to save? Not a computer or anything.
My 10M clock.
Oh, the antelope.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
That's a headline.
That is a headline. There are a number of headlines.
I mean, this is. I don't think we've ever had a show this good.
Well, listen. Look at the percent. And I'm speaking to Terry when I say this, but leave December 3rd open, sir, because we have some assignments for you at the Pensado Awards.
Cool.
So,
FYI, I have never even been nominated.
that could change.
I don't think a brother has won an award at the Pensado Awards.
No, brothers
I'm just
haven't.
saying.
But there hadn't been a
Oh,
lot of white
Ali
people
won.
who
Ali won.
Ali won.
Ali won.
There's been a few.
Shout outs to Ali, who's incredible, by the way.
Who is awesome.
That's another one of my favorite.
Me too. Little brother in the awesome dude,
Amazing.
man. Amazing cat.
And mixes in flip flops.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Does not care.
Mixes in TDE flip flops. He's always working.
That he's
the
making
logo.
money on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's fun because I've known of both of you's relationship for a long time. To just not only walk to the ascension of both of you, but the fact that nothing changes about you two as people to each other, and that is a lesson that you guys should learn too. That your humanity informs your creativity, which informs your success at some point in time. And you got to keep them all in balance. Is that fair to say?
Love is love, man.
Absolutely, man. Amazing.
Appreciate you guys.
Love you like, man. Hey, man, that's your boy. I don't know if you're just showing your nipple to him or your logo.
He said he needed the Hubble telescope to see my logo. That was disrespectful, wasn't it? Well, I didn't buy the expensive one. Come on.
Clearly. Say goodbye, Dave.
Hey, guys, you know how I preach trying not to work alone. Don't work in a vacuum. Work with people. We make records for lots of people, and then we expect to make them alone. That's not a good sign. Jay has been somebody that's been incredibly important in my life. I've sent him bass lines at 3 a.m, and he fixed them for me and sent them back. That was on a Michael Jackson record. Get somebody in your life that you can trust. There's times when we all go through doubts, maybe probably a little more than most people. I'm sitting there going, God, is this any good? Am I any good? And I'll talk to Jay, and he gets me on track, and I'm forever grateful for that friendship. So the bottom line is go out there and find yourself a Jaycen, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.